Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's a state of stupidity.
I told him. I said it's a state of stupidity.
Welcome to episode 15 of the State of Stupidity. I'm back this week with the latest in the craziness all around us. Whether you look high or low, it's not too hard to find bullshit and trying to wade through it. You know, last week I made a bunch of claims about some fucked up shit and nothing being done about it. Well, here we are a week later, and it turns out that some shit is being done about it. I mean, we had an impeachment proceeding announced for Joe Biden and an indictment for Hunter Biden. But before we get into any of that stuff, I think there was also some bullshit going on with student loans, Jay, that you had seen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talk about student loans a lot on here. How it's the biggest scam out there. So I found an article. Marjorie Center was in her early 20s when she took out a student loan for $5,000.
$5,000.
$5,000.
In her 20s.
In her 20s. Now she's 74, and the balance is $55,000.
Now, I'm sorry.
$55,000. She's been paying on this loan for almost 50 years.
That math's not mathing.
Or maybe she is paying a minimum payment on the loan. But that thing ballooned to $55,000.
That's not.
So this lady's got to go to work every day.
Okay.
And she's going to end up dying with probably a $55,000 student loan debt.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is complete nonsense if you ask me.
It is, but it's the design of it all. Back when Rockefeller got his hands into the public education system, they wanted good workers. They didn't want good people. They wanted good wage slaves. So they created a system, and they've clearly done a masterful job where they force everybody into a Monday through Friday education system where we go and are indoctrinated to regurgitate facts and things that don't matter in the reality of the world we live in, but we're pushed to keep going and move along, and we're graded. And these grades then would help our employers find out who are or aren't good listeners, good ones who will toe the line. Your grades, they're not about how well you can retain the information. It's about sending a signal to somebody higher up that you're good at following orders, that you're good at doing what you're told. And you see it as they move through the system. You go from being indoctrinated, and because the indoctrination is not good enough, a lot of the classes and courses actually have to bleed over into where you're still doing the same shit curriculum-wise you were doing in high school in the college. Instead of going and learning about the things that you should be, the classes and the courses that you wanted to progress your life for, you're also forced through these other what they refer to as fundamentals or a core curriculum, whatever. But it's not, yeah, that sounds fucking great. Everything always sounds great. But then on the other side of it, it is just about forcing you to do shit just to keep you in a box.
Well, people need to stand up for this. I mean, like I said before, student loans are the biggest scam.
Yeah.
You know, 3.5 million 3.5 million people over 60 owe a combined $125 billion in student loan debts.
Yeah.
That's over 60.
Now.
How are there 3.5 million people that still have student loan debt?
Well,
because it's the biggest scam ever.
Yeah.
They're paying their whole. This is what I talk about when they want to talk about how they're going to pick you up, get a college education. Bullshit. That's all like you're talking about. It's about control.
Yeah.
We're going to have you in debt for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're going to pay us all you're going to ever pay. They're paying there is not even the interest.
Yeah.
That's like what we're doing right now, paying taxes on the debt of the country.
Yep.
We can't even cover the interest, just like these people can't cover the interest.
Right.
And I didn't realize this, but they can put you in jail for not paying your student loan debt.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I thought there were laws against wouldn't that be considered debtor's prison?
I would think so. I mean, but listen, this is the government. They do what they want to people.
Well, yeah, that is very fucking true.
I mean, now you got to go to extreme cases to where they would actually try to put you in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple steps in the process that before that would ever happen, but still, that should never come down to that.
Right.
There's people that defraud people all the time.
Well, I mean, look at most of your charities, most of the charitable organizations out there. They're scams that because they have good PR and good marketing, they're led to be these saviors for people when they're in hard times. But when you actually look at the way the money flows, it doesn't flow to the people who need it.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, and this is just, I mean, the more I look at this, the more it makes me sick that you can take out a loan for a house for hundreds of thousands of dollars and not pay it. You can default
You can file
on it,
bankruptcy.
and you can bankruptcy this thing. I just, it just doesn't make sense to me. But a $5,000 loan is going to balloon to 55 grand.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep paying it, they can garnish your Social Security, which is for a lot of people, it's $1,200. I mean, what the hell are you going to garnish out of it?
Right.
I mean, I think I forget what the percentage they can take out of your check, but I mean,
well, I'm surprised that it even got. See, the thing is like I went and did a brief like half semester just to try. I was going for criminal justice, but when I got out of that and was in a full-time job, they started garnishing my wages within a year. A year hadn't transpired between me stopping going to college and them already garnishing the wages of my full-time job that I had gotten, just so they could get the little bit of money that I even owed them. And that wasn't even maybe $4,000. So, like, now granted, I didn't take out any loans or anything of that nature. It was just what I owed the actual college themselves.
The other best part is you know how they have the loan forgiveness programs?
Okay.
So they'll base it on your percentage of your income.
Right.
And as long as you pay that for 10 to 25 years, then they'll forgive your loan.
Oh.
So as long as you pay a bare minimum for 10 to 25 years, which is interest only.
Right.
They're going to so you know what? Pay us $100 for the next 25 years, and we'll forgive your $5,000. You didn't forgive shit. You probably collected $15,000.
Exactly.
I mean, I just don't get it. And they do this to kids every day, and nobody says anything about it. Nobody thinks there's a problem there.
Well, nobody has time to stop and do the math. They don't think long term. They look short term. Get it taken care of so they can. Worry about the next thing.
These people need to get smart. What they need to do is if they have $5 or $10,000 in student loan, go get yourself a credit card, pay the student loan off, and default on the credit card.
Right.
Then because you can bankrupt the credit card.
Oh yeah.
So that's what you people need to do out there. If you got $5 or $10,000 or $15,000 in student loans that you're going to be paying for the next 30 years, just go get yourself a credit card and then you can bankrupt that. Pay that loan off with the credit card and say see you later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely ridiculous. I mean, I just don't understand how they could do that to people. I mean, there are some greedy son of a bitches out there.
Right. And that's just it. Well, and the thing is the biggest thing, wealth. What is wealth? Wealth isn't money. Wealth is social. Wealth is having social influence. Wealth is having social power. Wealth is a social thing.
And you know why the majority of people won't take the advice I just gave them?
Why?
Because they're genuinely good people.
Yeah.
And they believe in paying their debts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the truth of it.
Right.
And they prey on those genuinely. Like this lady's been paying on this for 50 years.
Yeah.
Now, she probably went through some times where she was paying, bare minimum. Obviously, she still is. But they're generally people that believe, you know what, I took the loan out, I got to pay it.
Yeah.
But listen, you got to look at it this way. You were taken advantage of by a predatory lender.
Yeah.
So the only way to deal with predators is to become a predator yourself.
Right.
That's the only way you're going to deal with them.
Well, and that's what we've been talking about this whole time is we got to figure out a way to beat them at their own game, so to speak.
Exactly.
And but that thing is at the same time, we are also watching opposing forces playing a very high level chess game where, I mean, the shit that's going on around us in the news and the media, like the political theater with the impeachment proceedings and shit like that, if there's nothing actually done, it is just that. It's all just theater. And everything that we have been shown or led to believe over the last 100 years was by design to keep us in a free slave state where we were churning out profit for our masters, so to speak. And meanwhile, fighting amongst ourselves for the scraps that were left. While, did you know that the current population of the world could fit in the state of Texas at 1 acre per person?
I heard that somewhere. Somebody else told me that same thing. I actually heard it this week, and
Right.
I was down in Florida, and I was talking to a gentleman. He's 93, and he was saying something like everybody could live in Texas.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to look into it.
And
but
now, then you just take that and extrapolate it. And then that's even all the people like cramped in India. You know, the billions in India, the billions in China. Like it's one of those things where, because we're told certain things, it becomes a quote unquote group narrative. It becomes reality because people make it reality.
yeah.
It's not necessarily that it is real. Like, I mean,
Well, I mean, we can talk about that land thing because I read some stuff on that too. That between BlackRock, Vanguard, and I think State Street, they have enough money to buy every single property in the country.
yeah.
And what they're doing right now is like if you see real estate, a lot of these real estate transactions, you know, people are going to buy a house and they're getting outbid by a cash buyer.
Right.
A lot of these big corporations are going in and buying up all these houses because I think what they're trying to do is push it to where everybody's got to rent.
Yeah.
Because then they're paying. Then you're paying them constantly.
Well, Bud, that's the plan. By 2030, they want us to own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting back to that garnishing the wages.
Yeah.
So if you tell them you're not, you know, if you just decide you're not going to pay your student loans,
Yeah.
they'll garnish your wages up to 15%.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to garnish your wages for up to 15%. Or if you be a good little sheep and you pay,
Yeah.
they'll only garnish 5%.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to pay 5% on a loan that's got probably a 6 or 8% interest.
Right. So you're not paying anything off
No,
of that. Right?
every month, every time you make a payment, you're actually losing money.
Yeah. And most
Your debt's going up.
most things have gone paperless in the day and age that we live. So you're not even actually seeing a bill. So you're just constantly making a payment.
And the thing they're not talking about either, you know, we were talking about this land grab.
Yeah.
You're going to see a huge commercial land grab here shortly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In 2024,
Yeah.
a majority of the commercial loans are
Okay.
due.
Oh.
So what they do is usually a commercial loan, you take it out for 5 years.
Yeah.
So every 5 years, you refinance the property.
Okay.
And your rate either goes up or down depending on, you know, what the interest rates are.
Right.
So right now, you know where the interest rates are.
Yeah.
They're through the roof.
Oh, my God.
Where are they going to be 2024? You know, they could be another % or two higher.
Right. They're
And-
definitely not going to go down
And
with the
thing-
way things are going.
The thing you got to look at is most of these commercial properties were refinanced, you know, 4 years ago, 5 years, about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So they were probably financed at 4 to 7, 8%, depending on, you know, the credit worthiness of the borrower.
Okay.
But when you're talking about borrowing, you know, a $200 million loan on a property
Yeah.
at 4%, and now you're going to have to refinance it at 10,
Yeah.
that's a huge difference in your monthly payment.
Oh, yeah.
And I read a report where the one guy, he manages a couple $2 billion in commercial property. He has a $230-some million property that he straight up said he's going to let the bank take it because after he ran the numbers
Yeah.
under the new rate he'll be refinancing at. Unless the bank works with him,
Yeah.
he's just going to give the property away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, wow.
He's
That's
going to walk away
crazy.
from it because it doesn't pay the bills.
Well, and that's just it. If people at that level are in straits where they're seeing the writing on the wall, they're messing with billions and they're willing to walk away from $1 billion property just because of the situation with the way things are going. You're only gonna find corporations who can
Well, they had
survive.
they had the cash to buy it.
because
I-
it's
I think they
a
said
group.
I think they said that Vanguard, those three companies have like how many $1 trillion on hand. I think
Yeah.
it's like 10 or 12 trillion.
Well, and all three of those companies are connected to the United States military. Like they all work hand in hand.
Oh yeah, they have unlimited funds.
That's how they do it. I mean, you create these. They're not shell companies; they're real companies, but they're shell companies for the United States government to do anything that they want to fucking do without having to address the people. So anybody who's come up through the political machine the last 40, 50 years has, been pulled into this, and the ones who are willing to toe the line and help the bottom line, they are brought in, they're groomed, they're trained how to become a part of the machine. And at the end of the day, I can't see that any of these people actually see us as people.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
We've never been seen as people.
Right.
And the other thing you got to understand with these commercial loans,
Yeah.
most of them are leveraged against small banks,
Okay.
small community banks.
So we're also probably going to see a lot of.
Oh, they're going to crash them.
Yeah.
So then it's going to go, and they don't want you to go to these small banks. You know why? Because you can build a relationship with the banker there.
Right.
You can't build a relationship with the banker at Wells Fargo.
No, you're just a number.
You can't.
Even they are a number.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, even they are a number at their bank.
yeah, I mean, they're nothing. They're never
Right.
going to see anybody at the top. So they're going to push everybody into these bigger banks, which are I've had my experience with Truist. They're one of the worst banks you could ever deal with.
Yeah.
They don't protect your accounts. I mean, they're just horrible.
Yeah.
And that's one of the bigger banks.
Yeah.
Truist, Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Chase, exactly.
JP.
Yeah, they're gonna push all them like JP.
JP Morgan, they
Yeah.
were the ones. I mean, the fact that JP Morgan Chase is still allowed to operate when there is as much evidence as is clearly needed that they were helping the Epstein machine run.
It's sickening.
It is. And I mean, it just shows you that in the grand scheme of things, it's not that evil wins. It's just that they're willing to make it look like they're doing good while hiding all this other bullshit. And it's gotten to the point where it's pretty blatant. And I think it's because they're running out of moves. Okay. I heard a great analogy that where we're at currently is that checkmate is in play. And it's all about just watching the two chess players just use up the last few moves they have. The loser knows it's coming. They're desperately just grasping at straws from their old playbook, and they don't have any of the backing that they used to make it the finesse of it. So all this bullshit that is being seen in real time happening where their narrative just doesn't add up and they can't even hide it in the media anymore. It's really one of those things where you can.
They don't care. That's the whole thing.
Well, no, at that point, no.
The problem is
where they're at.
You're dealing with people that have no conscience.
Yeah.
They have no regard for human life.
Right.
They don't care that people are out on the streets.
Right.
They're
trying to force them. They want these smart cities.
Like you talk about, these people, the whole world's, being able to live in Texas.
Yeah.
How do we have homeless people anymore?
Right.
I mean, all the vacant areas that we have, and we have homeless people. I mean, some of the people just want to,
Some people want to be off grid.
Yeah, they want to be off grid, exactly. But I was in Florida, and it's amazing how many people are living underneath of bridges,
overpasses, stuff like that.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean,
like 10 cities.
No, these were just,
one or two.
And these are like out in I was in Orlando, but then I was out in Brooksville, Florida, which is, it's a little out more country.
Yeah.
And there's a guy out in the middle of nowhere under a bridge. I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, it's like, did somebody just drop the guy off there?
Right.
He didn't walk there. I can tell you that.
Well, and speaking of homeless, I mean, it's gotten out of control up in New York where now, did you see the guy who was all about letting, bring them in, bring them to us. Well, now this is going to be a problem.
Exactly. Well, it's going to destroy New York City. Well, you had no problem with it destroying Texas. You have no problem with it destroying the whole state of Florida. You have no problem with it destroying, New Mexico, Arizona, they have no trouble with destroying all that. But we're worried about one city. We don't want to destroy one city,
Well,
but you'll destroy whole states.
right.
You know,
Well, and that's just it. They're reaping what they sow.
Exactly. And what's even more ridiculous is they're getting more money for the immigrants than the border cities are getting.
Yeah.
It just cracks me up.
Yeah.
You know, now you got the people in New York are upset, and it's like they were just yelling at AOC because they were moving them people into the one of the hotels.
Yeah.
And and rightfully so, the people are upset because you have people living in Central Park.
Right. Yep.
Like you said, you have 10 cities.
Situation.
Yeah, and you can't take care of them, but you're going to take care of people that shouldn't be here. And if you close the border, they wouldn't be here.
Right. And now when you look at most of the people who have been like quite literally pushed across the border at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
They were
enticed to come across the
army
border.
age men. They are all military age men. So now, mostly, of course, you're going to have, it's a wide range and it is what it is. But now, theory time, okay? You have all these guys coming across. You have shit that you want to put in place, but your guys are too constitutional. They were raised here. They know the American dream. They know the American way. They know how it's supposed to be. So what do? You got to go out and outsource it. You bring them all in. You get them all where they're of the age so you can just, hey, sign here, do this, we'll put you here, we'll give you this, and then you're going to follow our orders. Okay, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, you gave me a new life. Yeah. Why not? Now, you want to put in a digital currency. How do you do it? You get your migrants to do it. You get all the people who will willingly suck on the teat of the government to sign up for all your fucking bullshit that you're trying to get through. And now, again, this is all shit that they are trying to push through and fast track between now and 2030. So that's a very closing window. And the Deagle report of population back in the 2020 craziness said in 2025 there was only going to be 500 million people on the earth.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah. It seems like there might be a little bit of chaos coming in the next year.
The other issue with, getting back to the commercial mortgages,
Yeah.
the value of the properties are down
Okay.
over 10%.
Really?
Yeah, so how do you refinance a property that's not worth what you paid for it 5 years ago?
Yeah.
The banks don't refinance stuff that's underwater.
Right.
They don't, unless you're going to put a huge down payment down on this.
They're already having trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
we're having issues with the currency as it stands because, our U.S. Treasury, the state Treasury guy or lady was in Iraq yesterday talking about trading in 3 other currencies other than the U.S. dollar. Now, that should be front page news. That should be something that is being legitimately reported about. Because
what's the national debt right now?
The national debt? I don't know. I know it was at $32 trillion last checked. There is talks that we are creeping over the 33 mark.
The debt in the commercial mortgages that's coming due is $1.5 trillion.
1.5 trillion.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big chunk of money.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way.
Oh, yeah. And they have everything prepped and primed. Look at all the weather bullshit that's currently going on. I don't know what a biblical flood necessarily looks like because I wasn't there, but there is currently flooding in multiple countries across the world. And it's really weird where, thoughts and prayers that all those affected, especially in Libya. The one in Libya was ridiculous. But everything...
Well, listen, you have dams that you haven't taken care of for 10, 20 years.
Right.
And, those things are going to burst eventually.
But at the same time, wasn't Libya one of the countries that we were trying to give some freedom to?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's one... And there was also Greece and Mexico... I want to say somewhere Georgia in the States, but it's one of those things where even you take out the fires that they could or could not be setting, And you look at flooding where, yeah, you've got dams that there's clearly infrastructure all over the world that's been outdated. And it looks like they're just getting ready to reshuffle the board, so to speak, like they've done in the past. I mean, when the timing of everything from our past is starting to line up with our present, I don't know if it's by design to just keep everybody in their box. The fact that it feels like everything is kind of coming to a head, that in and of itself also feels like it's by design to just give people, like, you need the carrot. You need the carrot to keep people going. You need to give them a little bit of hope just to be able to fucking then dump the fear in the back of the head and hit them with the trauma and all that shit.
Well, I mean, that's anytime there's an issue, they're gonna give them some kind of trauma to scare the shit out of them into doing what they need them to do.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it is. And now we got Hunter Biden getting indicted.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious how they spin this on all these liberal news stations.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is the first time this has ever happened, blah, blah. What do you think? What do you think? This is the same thing with Trump. You're not saying anything about that. You're not saying this is the first time this has ever happened. And then they tried forcing the trial with Trump with 16 or 19 co-defendants all together, try them all together.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? How do you try 19 different people that aren't all convicted or aren't all charged with all the same crimes?
Well, that's them trying to levy something that one of those people did against
Exactly. Well, that's what
Trump.
I'm saying. But what's crazy about it is, they wanted to do it by October.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's people that murder people that the trials aren't for years.
2, 3 years
Exactly. They
out.
push it off forever. We're going to do this. We got to do this right now.
Yeah.
And you're going to try to try all 19. They were going to try at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
No.
I mean, that's going to be unfair to somebody that might have got charged with 1 or 2 of the crimes, and the other guys are charged with 10 or 15 of them. Because all the jury's going to hear. You can tell the jury all you want. Disregard this in this case. Disregard that in that case. They're not. That's all going to blend together.
Yeah.
So that's just. I mean, I think personally it's a dumb idea because you have a better chance of muddying the waters with the jury if you really want to get a true conviction or you know what I mean? So, I don't know. To me, I just thought it was ambitious.
Trying to find a jury to weigh a case against Trump, I mean, like, that has got to be one of the, especially with as bad as they've gotten with the media and shit, where they've got everybody so internally worked up one way or the
and what's
other.
funny
to
about it-
find impartial,
Exactly.
to find a panel that large of even you only need that many, but still that many jurors. It just, I don't know, bud. It seems like
The other problem is, you got Hunter Biden who's charged with a gun crime.
okay,
Aren't the Democrats the big anti-gun?
yeah.
They're all, we got to take these guns away from criminals. Well, you have a criminal right there with a gun.
Right.
And now you're trying to get him off scot-free. Oh, he says the first time everybody's been charged with this, they're not treating him right. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
When your dad is the one that helped write most of the laws and put all these people in jail, you should be made an example of.
Well,
You should get crucified for violating a
Absolutely.
law that your daddy wrote and
Yeah.
you knew damn well what you were doing.
yeah.
So you absolutely should be crucified.
Well, speaking of laws that his dad wrote, I found out this week, timely enough, that Joe Biden wrote the Patriot Act
Oh, really?
in 1995.
No kidding. He was
Yeah.
well, he didn't write it.
Oh no,
He just signed
no!
it.
There's a clip. There's a clip of him in the 2000s bragging about
Oh,
how the judge.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
took what he wrote and put it into law
Yeah.
as he wrote
Well,
it.
I'm not giving him that much credit.
Yeah.
He's a moron.
Oh look.
All he did was he told them what they wanted him to say, just like he does any other time he goes up there in front of the TV. I can't take too many questions because they're going to get mad at me. I'm not supposed to take questions because I might actually tell you guys the truth of what's going on.
Now I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't believe he wrote anything. He just signed the laws,
Yeah.
and he took credit for them.
Well, but you calling him a moron? That's, I mean,
Listen, the only thing missing from it, the puppet.
look at the world.
The only thing missing from the puppet are the strings.
Right. But I mean, like, that is one of the most well-crafted morons. I mean,
No, it's the best moron you can have.
it's a controlled moron.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it's by design that, I mean, Obama knew when he brought Biden
he knew
into
exactly what he
that,
was doing. Yeah.
he was bringing in the best distraction he could ever bring in.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Obama's involved in all that money that was given to the Bidens.
Oh my God!
As a way to strategically control them, because Obama's not stupid. He's smart.
Well, yeah. I mean, he doesn't. His paper trail is a lot more conspiracy theorist than conspiracy fact.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's
so
that's the other thing I love. Like, anybody that goes against the mainstream media with any idea they don't agree with is a conspiracy theorist.
Right. But it's not, well, again, it's not mainstream media. It's state-funded propaganda.
No, same thing, exactly. But what I'm saying is, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
But they jaw jab all this nonsense, and it's fact.
Right. No.
It's not a conspiracy theorist.
They're not fact.
Theory. Yeah. Exactly.
Just because you regurgitate
Just
it
because you
enough,
keep saying it over and over isn't going to make it true.
No. And that, listen, you want to talk like conspiracy theory, like you want to talk, it doesn't matter whether the earth is round or flat. But I'll tell you this, it's neither. It's a lot more fucking complicated than that. It is a flat plane that has a fucking round oval, like egg shape.
I was gonna say it's more
sphere.
Oval. That's why that's why the tide comes in and out.
Yeah.
Because it's not completely it's a complete perfect circle.
No, but if you look up the patents for a helicopter, if you look up the patents for most flying machines, they have in them that they operate based off of a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Yeah.
And that is our own government putting that stuff in these patents. Like, so it's one of those things where when you have that kind of information out there, and then you take that and you just extrapolate it a little further, where they've created such a diverse look at it, where we're either on a rock hurtling through space, or we're on a completely flat like, how can we be living on a pancake? And then you get people fighting about it. Well, the truth of the matter is neither of those two things are actually fucking right. It's a little more fucking nuanced, and if we could stop fighting about that, we could probably see it with our own two eyes. But no, we're gonna worry about trying to get off of here and go to Mars, because that makes way more sense. And we're going to put in, how many billions of dollars a year does NASA get to do their fucking little bullshit?
Yeah, but they're not even doing anything now.
No.
Musk does everything. They wouldn't even have a spaceship.
But do you know NASA's budget is still astronomically
it's still all the money.
large?
What are they doing with it?
Well, they need to force the math. Do you know how much math is connected to 666 through just NASA?
No.
Yeah, the orbit of us around the sun is 66,600,000 miles or some shit like that. There's quite a few facts that come out of NASA that look more like it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to some Luciferian shit than it would be to actual space science. Now, I'm not saying that their math doesn't track, because I'm not a fucking mathematician. Yeah. But what I am saying is that you can force math to work. All you got to do is change your variables until the fucking maths. You know what I mean? And then you get enough
I can't even figure out the new math.
Right. Well, and that's just it. When they had to make math harder for people, like, what? Like, no, you don't make math harder to try and make it easier for others to learn it.
That was all made to. I'm going to tell you why they did that.
To make people stupider.
No, no, it's not that at all.
Well, it's that it goes back to the indoctrination thing, to force people to learn something different when the way that it was being learned was perfectly fine.
Well, the whole reason it was done like that,
yeah,
was so the teacher could say, "Your parents are idiots."
Yeah.
That's why you need to listen to me.
The indoctrination.
Because
yeah.
you can clearly see they don't even know how to do simple math.
Yeah.
That's exactly why that was done. There's no reason, like you said, that thing wasn't, if something's not broke, you don't change it.
Right.
There's no reason you need to do 15 things to say 2 + 2 is 4.
But that's a light bulb moment for me there. That's a reason why we have to do dinosaurs so early. That's a reason why we have to do space so early. You have to do it that early so you can manipulate the children.
Exactly.
You can put that into their imagination and then they force it into reality. It's not that shit is actually real, that the stories that are being told to those kids based off of what other people went into universities and got indoctrinated into learning and then went and just because you found some fucking bones in the ground does not mean you can tell me how that fucking animal lived. Because you can tell what the fuck they may have had in their stomach, you can tell what they had in their fucking
by their bones.
By their bones.
Exactly.
You guys, you gotta stop. Like I get you's tricked us for quite some time, but as people can start putting 2 and 2 together themselves, and I mean, look, you want to believe whatever the fuck you're told. You go ahead and believe whatever you're told. I am of a mindset where I'm going to ask a question because I see a question. I'm going to say, well, that doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense to me. If you can make it make sense, okay, cool. That's fine. Like, I may not have a lot of their facts stored up in my head, but I have a lot of room to learn some things based off of my own 2 eyes, my own 5 senses. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where I'm not going to Mars, but I see us wasting a lot of fucking resources.
You may be going there.
No.
What do you mean you're not going there?
No, we're not getting out of the firmament. I am a firm believer. If we went to the moon, it would have been in the firmament. But I don't think that the moon is in the firmament. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I do not see us leaving this plane of existence until our time comes and we evolve from a human being and pass into the next existence into a spiritual being. Whatever you want to call that, if you want to call it death, if you want to call it whatever, that's the way we leave this plane of existence. And that's, you can even get into where it looks like there's even a soul trap element to it, where we keep reincarnating because we go to the light instead of fucking staying in the shadow, you know? But that's, yeah. I could go down a whole nother rant with that.
Sounds like you're going down a rabbit hole now.
Well, no, I want to touch base on a story I found from Hawaii first. Okay? Because I definitely wanted to get back to Hawaii before we ended.
Okay.
Now, this is a headline from the Hawaiian Public Radio. FBI recovers 11 missing children in Hawaii and rescues 200 victims of sex trafficking nationwide. The Federal Bureau of Investigation recently announced the results of Operation Cross Country, a nationwide sweep targeting sex traffickers. The effort involved local police departments, nonprofit groups, and more. This is the 13th year the campaign has been underway. First time I ever heard of it. Last month, over 200 victims of sex trafficking were found and 59 missing children were rescued. And now this is somebody speaking, here on Oahu, we recovered 6 children, which was just fantastic. Great work by our team, said Stephen Merrill, the FBI special agent in charge for Hawaii and the Pacific. He said his office's main priority is protecting Kiki and Kupano. I believe those are Hawaiian words for children. I'm not quite sure. We recovered 5 children on the Big Island, and we identified and located 1 on Maui as well, he added. Although Operation Cross Country itself was only 2 weeks long, Merrill wants people to know that the FBI is always working to save people from sex
2
trafficking.
weeks long it was?
Now, I'm going to backtrack. We're going to stop there. Do you know when that article was published?
When?
August 2nd, 2023.
Really?
Yeah.
And with fires, what, the 8th?
The 8th. So, now, again, there's too many coincidences, you know, when, again, you have an operation like that going on, and it's been operating for 13 years, and which it should be behind the scenes to where they're able to catch the people they need to catch. But the timing of that, I mean, come on. You're talking August 2nd to August 8th, and they did find some shit going on in Hawaii, even in Maui.
Yeah, and then we burn the evidence.
And then, well, that's where I think them finding what they found caused the cabal to then act.
That's what I'm saying. They had to burn it. They burn the evidence.
Yeah.
I mean,
They had to cause chaos to overshadow what was found.
I had talked. Did you see? I mean, we talked about that Hawaii realtor that was on there doing all the videos.
Which I had just, I had somebody else in the videos that I had seen brought him up. How he was just a normal realtor,
normal guy,
and
Man.
now all his channel is him trying to break down this conspiracy.
All he's doing is he's not making anything up. He's just going to the people and letting them tell their stories.
Yeah.
And did you see how he raised $1 million for them?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, he raised $1 million.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, what's really awesome is Keller Williams. That's the real estate company he works for.
Yeah.
Keller Williams fired him.
What?
Yep, because they tried saying that he was keeping all the money.
What?
Yeah, because his nonprofit, they take forever to set up.
Right.
So he had to set that. He was trying to set that up in order to, not get whacked for taxes.
Yeah,
Because the government will take 30% of that money.
Oh yeah.
So what he ended up doing was, now he didn't even have this money a week,
Okay.
and he ended up having. So they gave him so much heat. Because one idiot on Instagram tried to say, like a 19-year-old girl tried saying he was scamming all these people and he was keeping the money for himself.
Yeah.
So he ended up divvying all the money out to churches to get rid of it. That way he didn't, because he had no intention of keeping the money. He said straight out, I don't need the money. I'm doing it for the people.
Yeah.
A lot of the people he had on there.
Yeah, if he's a realtor in Hawaii, he was
one of the best realtors. So he made plenty of money. But they were threatening his family. They were following him. I mean, they were doing all sorts of stuff to this guy. Well, he ended up, so he gave the money out, but Keller Williams tried, they went on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
So, if I was you out there and you're going to buy a home, don't use Keller Williams. If you're going to sell a home, don't use Keller Williams because they're part of the woke.
Yeah.
They don't care about people. They're going after a guy that all he was doing was helping people.
Yeah.
And I guess they don't like somebody that tells the truth. They'd rather have people that are scam artists themselves.
Exactly.
So, Keller Williams, they're dirtbags.
Absolutely.
And
Oprah was on crying. Oprah was on crying on morning news shit.
She's gonna have to put up the $10 million herself. That's why she's crying, because she never agreed to that she was going to donate $10 million.
No.
$5 million herself and $5 million from The Rock.
No, they were setting it up.
They were saying they were going to get $10 million.
Yeah.
So now if they don't get $10 million, they're going to actually have to pay the $10 million themselves, and that's what they don't want to do. That they want to get the $10 million from the people that are scraping to buy food every day. That's
so
where
they don't have to do anything.
Absolutely, they don't want to. They committed $10 million. That's what it was called.
And that's where, I don't the assets they have may give them a little bit of wealth, but as far as it's more social, the dollars, they don't have the dollars. Those dollars don't fucking exist, because if they went to the fucking bank and tried to withdraw them, we talked about that. They wouldn't be able to end up.
Well, they're not even worried about
money.
But once you get so big and so much money, it's more about power than money.
That's what I mean, and that takes it back to what real wealth is. It's about that social equity. It's about the that's where she fucked up, and she outstood her welcome, which is incredible considering how long she's fucking been around.
Well, that's because she was on TV every day.
Yeah.
Pumping
the programming.
Beating it into people's heads, giving cars away, giving this away, giving that away.
Yeah. Which, if you look into that, most of those people all were saddled with taxes and shit.
Absolutely, they were. Yeah, you can't just take that. You got to pay all the taxes on it.
Yeah.
So, and let's face it, she wasn't giving shit away.
No.
That was all from the show that was making millions of dollars.
Exactly.
They're the ones giving it away.
And they were all donated. The companies donated that shit so that those companies could then write it off.
Exactly.
It was a tax write-off for them. In the end, a charitable donation. There's the wealthy don't use money to keep their wealth.
Exactly.
They just keep shifting their power, and where the energy goes, the attention. The attention they get from the public is what gives them their wealth.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what they want. And then then when they get all that wealth and they look like they're a good person, then they can talk people into doing stuff they normally wouldn't do.
Right.
Because thinking that I'm going to listen to this person, they're a good person, so they would never take advantage of me or put me down the wrong road.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
Exactly.
You know, they did exactly that. I mean, that John Lagarde.
Yeah.
He talked about him like he was the best person in the world.
Yeah.
Here he was molesting more women than anything. He was a big criminal.
She knew.
Oh, she knew that. Absolutely, she
knew.
did.
Yeah.
She said it was. She was. That's why she was so honored to meet him.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to meet a molester,
Yeah.
a sexual predator. I can't believe how great this guy is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's you can't look at the people that just look at the Epstein.
Exactly.
Look at the Epstein of
I mean, everybody was they flocked to him too, knowing he was doing what he was doing. Even when he
Right.
was outed, they were still making. They wanted to be buddy up with him.
Well, and that's where I think between what happened with him and then the way things that have unfolded, those are the chess moves. Those are the plays that we're seeing where when Bush Sr. died, there was at the funeral a white envelope that a bunch of people had gotten. And there's some clips online where the faces that the people made when they read this note, it was a very telling face that a lot of them made. It seemed like the jig was up or they were in trouble, so to speak. And when you look at the way things have unfolded since Bush Sr. died, I mean, it does kind of look like that, where they need to keep the narrative going, because if you ripped the Band-Aid off and told everyone, hey, we fucked up, we left the cabal takeover, and there was some fucked up shit going on for quite a few decades. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, people would lose their minds. They wouldn't know how to process that. But if you slowly but surely started to attack character and attack the way that the system itself worked, it would over time get to the point where we're at now, where everybody can fucking see it.
Oh yeah, I mean, even Epstein.
Nobody's buying their shit.
Let's talk about Epstein. Do you see how he got that mansion in Manhattan?
Yeah.
$77 million mansion. He got it
For
for nothing.
$1.
Zero.
Yeah.
It was $0.
From
Yeah,
the Victoria's Secret guy, Wexler.
Yeah. Why did he get that for not? Who gives somebody something for $77 million for nothing? Somebody that's got dirt on you.
Right?
That's who does that.
Yeah.
The problem is he got dirt on the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that's why he ended up, killed.
Oh yeah.
And that wrong person was probably the Clintons.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the body count that they have, yeah, you can do the math and you can sort of put two together. Who would have the ability to make him disappear from inside of a jail cell? Well, it's only somebody that's that high connected.
Exactly.
It's not just Joe Schmo is going to walk into a fucking precinct and be like, hey, we want you to take care of this guy. Get this going.
Turn the cameras off.
Yeah.
And, get the guard away from the cell.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be guarded. They're supposed to know what he does at all times in that cell. How do you have that many things break down unless it's by design?
Right.
I mean, come on. People need to wake up. If you don't think he was killed, you got to be a fool.
Right. There's incompetence, and it's pretty easy to design incompetence when when you're a boss, you know who your good producers are and who your bad producers are. And if you're in that position and you say, hey, we need a patsy. Oh, I got just the guy. I know exactly who I'm going to put on that one. And I guarantee you they will do their job to a T, and it will go off flawlessly. But it will look like incompetence. And that's just it. It's incompetence by design. So I don't know that you can call it that, because at that point, then it's just a fucking craft. It's basically fucking just spell casting and manipulation, where they're just doing. And when you look at the ritual side of things, even you go to September 11th, 11 years later, what happened? 11 years later to the day, Benghazi.
Okay. Oh, yeah, exactly.
So now, because this past, it was, it's weird how they have certain dates that are tied to things. Because if there's a history of 9/11, there's a history of the March equinox. Like there's between your pagan holidays, your Malachian holidays, your Luciferian shit, there's Freemasons. I mean, the amount of secret societies that are currently fucking fighting each other, we probably have no clue of. You know, all we see is the state-funded media putting out articles that show what the narrative is. I mean, it's not facts, it's just a narrative. And at that point, it's just storytelling. I mean, how you live your life, what you do in your life, that is what really matters at the end of the day. I mean, chasing a dollar, all you're ever going to do is be chasing it. You're not going to catch it. I mean, it's not something that you should live your life by. I mean, you should want to be able to live your life from a place of love, unconditional love all around. You should project it out. And if you project that out, it will also be what's drawn back to you. And I mean, it sounds fucking foo-foo-y and bullshitty, but I mean, everything else will start to line up when you get in line with the universe. I don't know how to show people what I've experienced, but I've definitely experienced it.
Well, another thing is, I mean, you need to start thinking positive too.
Yeah.
You know, everybody.
Power positivity.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you can, if you think negative things happen.
Yeah.
If you think positive things happen. If you think negative about every situation in your life, there's always positives and negatives in everything you experience in life.
Well, because this is a magnetic existence to a certain extent. I mean, there is the toroidal field, but our bodies also have a magnetism to them where we have a magnetic force around us. And so if you take your magnetic force and you find a way to get in tune with the planet's magnetic force and you project the right message out, you're going to get everything you need to be able to do that back. And I mean, it's something that if you want science, if you want facts, I mean, there is magnetic studies out there, but like there is also, we've been taught too much where it's bullshit. So you just need to get back to finding your own intuition. You're finding your own, like, what drives you that's not being pulled by a narrative. And I mean, the first thing to do is to try and get in tune with pleasure and pain and not be too drawn to one or the other. I mean, yeah.
Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's the state of stupidity.
I told him. I said it's a state of stupidity.